What is Dan like when you have one-on-one conversations with him? I mean, is he a complete social moron? Is he normal? Is he a
Nah,
weirdo? I envision this guy just played like Dungeons and Dragons as a kid or something. Like, give us some insight into Dan
nah,
Snyder and what he's like.
nah. I mean, just in my interactions with Dan, man, he's been just a great person, a very loyal person.
Is he normal?
Always, yeah, super normal, super normal. I mean, it's intimidating to run up on any billionaire and to even think that Dan's a billionaire and that I've had a conversation with him because I feel like I would be a random billionaire who was in real estate, or
Like a
random
Warren
billionaire
Buffett
who
or
was
something.
yeah. I think I would be a little, not shy, but
A little intimidated, maybe.
a little intimidated, without a doubt. Yeah, but like when I met Dan, like I never had that feeling. And the same thing with like a guy like Arthur Blank. For some
Mm-hmm.
reason, I feel like sports owners tend to be a little more relatable and down to earth than your just average Joe billionaire guy. But I mean, my relationship with Dan has been great. He's been a guy who I've been able to talk to when I've had problems or things come up.
Right.
He's a guy who's always kind of asked my opinion on certain things, whether it's the feel of the building or the feel of the locker room or the team or what we need to do to kind of get better. And I mean, he's a guy who grew up a Redskins fan. He grew up not far from RFK Stadium, and to have an owner that's really really rare to have an owner who grew up in the community of the team that he was able to purchase. And so for Dan, like it's so personal trying to get this thing turned around. And I remember Dan kind of being a little hands-on when I first got here.
Right.
And when I say hands-on, it was just he was always around. He was very accessible. I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard stories kind of before I got there that, if a guy like CP, who was obviously very close with Dan, would get a fine from, one of the coaches. Obviously, it was before kind of Shanahan and even, I guess, Zorn, because, like I said, it was before I got there. But kind of heard stories that, if a guy got a fine, they would take it in to Dan. CP name was always the one thrown up. Like I said, I've never seen it happen, but I've heard stories that, CP would kind of go to Dan, like Dan would be the guy who would, kind of bridge the gap between the coach and the player. Kind of the same way Al Davis worked when I was in Oakland. If you had a problem with anybody in the front office or anybody on that coaching staff, all you had to do was go talk to Al Davis and he'd get it fixed out, he'd get it figured out. And so Dan's kind of gotten a bad rap. I always tell people, man, Dan's one of the coolest, down-to-earth people I know. But for the average person, you really don't get to see it. You kind of hear the stories of,
No, nothing.
trying to buy championships and things
Yeah.
like that. And I'm like, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't have tried to throw money at the problem and try to fix it? I know if I was in that situation as an owner, that damn sure would be my approach initially. And over the years, Dan has kind of figured it out. He's kind of, step back and giving control to other people and kind of, let the process play out. And, I think that's kind of what you have to do, is just kind of let the process work itself out.
I agree with that,
I had fans. I don't mean to cut you off, JT.
Yeah.
Or is that Bish?
No, it's Eric.
That's Eric.
It's TB, but that's fine.
My bad, EB. No, but I was going to say, a lot of people always want to, I'm not going to say single Dan out, but it's almost like you can't be damn, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Here's the thing with Dan. I actually agree with you. From afar, it certainly appears like he's pulled back and he's letting the other people that he's hired run the operation. At least that's what it seems like from afar. But those people haven't been successful. And specifically, let's point to Bruce. And I'm sure you have a good relationship with Bruce. I'm not going to ask you to denigrate him, but the guy's record speaks for itself. It's 9 years now, 58, 82, and 1. Why the loyalty? Why is Bruce still here?
Because he's, at the end of the day, I think he's great at what he does. I mean, he's great at his job. I mean, his job isn't necessarily to pick the talent. Like I don't really know the structure of the front office per se. We've hired a lot of new guys this past season that obviously I'm not in the building, so I don't really know what everyone's role is. But I mean, Bruce's role is the president over the whole thing. We have a guy who's in charge of college scouting. We have a guy who's in charge of pro personnel. And, we have a lot of lieutenants who kind of fall underneath those guys, and they all kind of work in conjunction with Bruce and Dan. We don't have just one guy kind of pulling the strings, kind of like I don't even say pulling the strings, but one guy who's kind of making all the personnel decisions.
Right, but Bruce makes the final call, D. Bruce makes the final call.
I don't know if that's 100% true. I know he gets the title of saying he makes the final call. But I haven't sat in a meeting and saw Bruce have a guy picked out, Jay have a guy picked out, the head of pro scouting have a guy picked out, and ultimately they go with Bruce's guy. Like, I haven't been in a meeting and seen that happen. I've been in a meeting where I've seen everyone talking and voicing their opinions and coming to a consensus. I haven't seen just one guy kind of overruling everybody and saying, all right, I got final say. This is what we're going to do, guys. All right, next. So I can't really comment on what I haven't seen. I know the way the structure is laid in place, it seems that way because Bruce is the president. Right. And then you have, you don't have a GM actually in place. And I don't even know exactly what Doug's title is, but he has some power to say over there as well. So, I joke with him all the time about I'm ready to be the GM, and so
and let me ask you this.
I quite want that job yet, but
I was going to ask you if Bruce actually called you and said, "Hey, DeAngelo, we really want a former player to come in who was in the league just a couple of years ago. You know the league, especially defense. Can you help us kind of scout some of the possible free agents out there? Maybe not." Look at the college players. Let the college guys handle that. But in terms of pro personnel, and if they wanted you to come help, would you do it? Or is that too much of a commitment?
Nah, I would do it, but just some things have to change. Like for me to entertain something like that, like I need some assurances that my voice would actually carry some weight. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to just come in there and be a yes man.
Right.
I'm just not. I'm very. I have a very different viewpoint on a lot of things because some of these knuckleheads, some of these guys, that know. I was one of those guys. You know what I mean? So, who better to help guide young men or even figure out if a dude is selling you a crock of crap or if he's telling you the truth. You know what I mean? Like, I sat in those meetings as a 20-year-old rookie or potential draft pick, kind of telling coaches exactly what they wanted to hear. I knew how to play that game, and so I can smell BS from a mile away. And just having the chance to, when I was figuring out if I wanted to get in the front office or get into TV, just having the chance to sit in on some of those combine meetings, like I could easily tell who was very, very genuine and who had been coached up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who's his agent? Oh, yeah, his agent recruited me. I can remember, boy, he had a whole team of guys who would walk you through the combine process and almost give you the perfect answer for every question. And you could feel that from some guys. Some people might not have been able to feel it as well as I could. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying I'm just the world's greatest or the smartest guy in the world, but I'm a pretty young guy. I just came out of that locker room. I know how to relate to players. I know ultimately who can play and who can't play, who really is about football and who's about all the shiny, glamorous things that football gives you. Because that's ultimately what you want. You want a locker room full of guys who love football. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Who want to do what it takes to win each and every game. And watching what we saw on the field yesterday, I don't feel like we had a lot of those guys out